So when I was younger, a teenager and a younger adult, for probably about 20 years, I had writer's block or creative block quite often. It was more the default thing that I felt and experienced when I was trying to write music. And it didn't happen all the time, but it was pretty regular, and it is a feeling that I absolutely hated. But I wanted to create, and it was in my heart to create, so I had to persevere through it. And eventually, I got out of that. And that's been about 15 years since I've felt that at all. So I know that it is a permanent solution. And that's what I help people with coaching to get through, so they don't have to deal with that stuff anymore and other things. But that's probably one of the biggest pieces. So you are free, you can be creative, make the quality vision you have in your mind. But when I had writer's block, I would go to write lyrics, pick up the guitar, whatever it was, to make music, and it all just felt uninspired. I would feel empty, so I would just stop and go do something else and then come back another day. I would just try things, and this, of course, went on for years. It's not fun, but it is definitely beatable. And this is what I would consider writer's block. The first type comes from a lack of knowledge in depth. This is my classification, okay? There's probably other classifications for all this. I don't care, I'm just telling you how I see it, just for context, right? And so that first kind, even after 20 years, even though I got past it, I knew that during that time, there was more that was there. There was a desired outcome I wanted in my creativity. So I was able to get through that with gaining knowledge and depth in my understanding of things and guidance. Now, the second kind of writer's block, really there could be a lot of different things that affect stuff. People could even have a neurological issue with the brain. I'm not talking about that. We'll just say that's not writer's block. That's just something else. There's a problem there. But this other one I would say is more rooted in fear and doubt in most of the time, right? So I don't consider that writer's block in a traditional sense. That is going to inhibit writing, so yes, you could classify it as that, and that's fine. But for clarity of definition in this context, I'm not talking about that specifically. I'll look at that as something a little bit different, and of course get into that in other videos. So the kind I'm referring to is the type 1 writer's block. Have you ever had that where when you were just writing, like it just felt like there was just nothing that good that could come out? Or were you dealing with fears? And have you had those experiences separately? Because to me, they're definitely two very different things, and how you deal with them is going to be very, very different. So I'm going to rank all these exercises I hear that people bring up on how to deal with writer's block. And I'm going to rank them because in context, for the type 1 writer's block, the main kind, these are not going to be very helpful, and that's why I wanted to lay this out. Depending where you are and your mindset, your belief systems, these exercises could all be good. Your personality also might connect with different ones, so you might disagree. I'd love to hear in the comments your experience and why, because I think who we are and how we see the world and the cognitive functions that guide our choices and the lens we're looking through is going to cause one thing to look very different from another, which is why some people might really connect with country music and other people might really connect with hip-hop or classical. Part of who you are that you're born with, that's sort of innate, can be developed, strengthened, or neglected, whatever, but you're going to have definitely a certain perspective based off of that. And that's all good to take into consideration as I lay this out and give my opinions on things. Excellent, let's get into this. We have weak sauce, mild, medium, hot, and fireball! We are not actually labeling these the F through S tiers as usual because weak sauce, can be good and it has its place. I might be long-winded on some of these for context and for clarity, and having clarity gives you the tools you need to make better decisions. This isn't about just having a quick answer, so maybe I'll make a short out of it. We want to have clarity on what we're doing. First up is going for a walk. So we're going to put this in the medium, okay, because this is good. Walking breaks you out of the pattern. If you're in writer's block, you're getting out of your situation, you're changing your state a little bit feels good. Getting into nature especially, as it does things to your mind. I think in Japan, there's some sort of term for it, some sort of soaking in nature therapy or whatever. They probably have a word for it. That's way cooler. But when you get out there, it brings a better sense of peace. I know when I lived in the Pacific Northwest, I never wanted to leave because of all the trees and the mountains and the water. All right, it was like constant therapy. So this gets you out of your state. So even if you go outside and walk around the block and it's sweltering hot or freezing cold, you're just doing something different, and you're moving. And as you move, especially if you're looking forward, it brings a sense of peace, right? So if you think about hunter-gatherers, if you're hiding in a cave and you're still and not in motion, it's probably because there's either bad weather that is a threat, or some sort of lion or whatever, right? So if you're out there moving about in the world freely at a calm pace, then it kind of signals to your like lizard mind that there's no threat. So it's peaceful. And so there's psychological stuff there. Of course, people who like walk more probably live a bit longer. So this is all real stuff, not just my opinion here. So we're going to say that's pretty good, but it isn't actually making you a better writer. It's just helping to put you in a better state so that you can get out of that funk, at least temporarily. That is for sure useful. Now, if you're very depressed, you can go out and walk and you'll feel a little better, but it's not necessarily going to fix that depression. Next up is, I heard that David Bowie maybe did this. I don't know. I don't really care. Not that I have any problem with his songwriting, but that people who are famous and maybe even experts do all kinds of crazy dumb things. So we're going to say pulling ideas out of a hat to write with when you don't have ideas, total weak sauce. Now, you could do this, but it's going to be pretty uninspired, and unless you already have probably something inside of you that is really ready to go, you just need a topic, that can be fine. But for people who are really dealing with writer's block, this isn't, I think, going to do anything. So that is, I hate that one. All right, now, next up, and you can tell me, maybe that's helped you. And again, I said like different personalities, different things might trigger progress for them, but to really ultimately become a great maker of music and songwriter, this isn't going to do it. Yeah, next up is going to be free writing or stream of consciousness, okay, where you're just kind of writing things out on paper and just letting whatever comes out of your mind come out of your mind, okay? So I have, there's this lady in some weird random clothing that doesn't fit together. So you're just going to get a lot of random stuff, okay? And that might happen with the with the pulling ideas of a hat too. But so this can do stuff. But again, if you're a beginner or you're not in the best, like if you don't have mental reserves on how to deal with different things and strategies, these tactics, especially this right here, it's not going to be very effective. You're going to get a lot of random results, hence the random mix match clothing. It's not going to help. Now, if you know to take what you wrote and be able to properly analyze it and get some insight as to what's going on, that could totally inspire you to write a song. So again, it's mild, right? I like putting mild sauce on stuff, but that's not going to make, it's not going to push the needle. There might be someone who has reasons to say this is very effective, but we're just taking for your normal person, finding info on the internet, finding ideas, because this is what's going to happen most of the time. People are going to search, they want some tips and tricks, and they get a little tips and tricks don't do a whole lot. It's not strategy, it's not wisdom. It's just something to it's sort of like a snack to solve a hunger in the moment, and it could get you through it today, but this is not a long-term way to go. Affirmations and self-encouragement. Okay, we're going to put that up here, because just like walking is something you should do every day. It's something that's healthy for you. But you see, if you're trying to pull yourself up, this takes effort to pull, and this guy still has to climb up. That takes effort, right? So you're struggling. It's going to be tough if you are not strong. Okay, so you got to know where you are. If you're having a hard time, you're surrounded by negative people, you're depressed, you're eating unhealthy, you're not being healthy and walking. This here is going to be almost counterproductive, because you're going to fail after 5 minutes and then feel like this is negative, then not do it anymore when it's actually extremely helpful. Once you get momentum going on this, because you're doing it regularly over the long term, and you go through bouts where maybe it helps and then it feels like it doesn't do anything for a while, and you come back to it and it helps for a bit and it doesn't feel like anything. Eventually, this stuff starts to stick and take root, but that takes time. Just like walking. You're not going to see long-term benefits of walking in one day, and you're not going to see long-term benefits of affirmations or just encouraging yourself, and you might feel really dumb doing it at first. I think it's amazing. Just keep in context that you got to expect this to work long-term and be consistent. Okay, next up is going to be doing something totally different than you normally do. Okay, so this is going to be basically breaking the pattern of how you normally write. This is a tough one, where I want to put this. We'll put it here. We'll be nice. When you do something totally different and you take a leap of faith here and you try different things, you're going to definitely learn and you're going to get different results. And that is data so that you can keep making improvement on your craft so that you can become a better songwriter. But if you stay in one lane all the time, you're doing the same thing all the time, that is going to give you the same results. So we have to intentionally mix things up. That's what being creative is you're doing something different. You're putting things together in different combinations, and let's say you have a clear vision for your song and you're just stuck in the middle of it, how to make things work, then you have to try different things to get the solution. Try putting different chords together, try different tempo, different time signature, using some lyrics you never used before. Okay, a drum beat you normally don't like the style of, but maybe in this context it might work. That one, not too bad. And that's a good thing to do in life anyway, is just to step out of your comfort zone. Otherwise you get stagnant. Exposure therapy. So you can't really see this picture well, but it's a picture of these little kids are getting blasted with like a hose. And it's funny. But here, let's see if we can zoom in. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's funny. Okay, by putting yourself out there, say if you've never performed before, going to perform, that might be very nerve-wracking, but it's also going to be exhilarating. If you put yourself, say, on the internet and you post a song and maybe you have a lot of fears about how people will judge you and no one's liking it, and you spend all day in your head freaking out about how you look like a fool, that could be kind of negative. But definitely putting yourself out there, doing things, challenging yourself, releasing the song, it makes a huge difference. So in teaching music over the years and having concerts, having students, adults and kids and teens perform and put themselves out there in front of the potential backlash of fans who are going to throw tomatoes, which never happens. Generally, the outcome is that it was one of the most exciting nights of their life, or they just couldn't wait to do it again the next year. Like, it always is so much fun. Everyone loves it, even though it's a lot of hard work and it's scary. I'm not saying that's what you need to do in life, but that is going to bring about fast results. So it could be something much simpler and quicker, and this is actually the route I would go, because what you want to do is change the state that you're in. So if you're feeling down about what you're doing, you're just like, this isn't working, go and take a cold shower, right? That's why people do these cold plunges and cold showers and things like that. You shock your system, and it changes your state very fast. You start breathing really quickly. You have to calm yourself. And when you come out of it, you're going to be invigorated. You're going to feel totally different. In the moment, in the first few seconds, it really is unpleasant, and you might shout and holler a little bit, but it's kind of fun. So that kind of really quick exposure therapy, you build up a tolerance to it over time, but it's never the norm unless you're Wim Hof, right? It challenges you to adapt extremely quickly, and it gets you in a totally different mood. So that would be a very quick, I think, thing to do, to then go back as you songwrite to be in a different state. Because of the speed of results that gets, I think this is very effective for people who might not be in a place where they can where the self-encouragement is really going to work a whole lot, or going for a walk. And I like to go for walks and get outside to change my state and to feel better. And I come back and I'm usually refreshed and ready to be more creative. But, if you're not already pretty much there, this only does a little bit of difference. And I will say there's been times where going for a walk has helped a ton, or even just going and working somewhere different has helped a lot, just to break the pattern, because I'm always in my office working all the time in the same spot, and you just need to mix things up. Next up, setting a very short time limit Okay, this is awesome. Force yourself to get that song done extremely fast. Like, don't mess around, set a timer, and just go crazy and make decisions immediately without judging. This will propel you forward. Now, it doesn't mean the song will be done in an hour if that's what you set the timer for, but you're going to rush to see what you can do in that hour, and you're not going to mess around and tinker around with details. You're going to look at the big picture, and you're just going to sprint. And when you get done with that, you're going to have made a lot more progress than normal. So very effective, very simple. That's why I like these. You can go take a cold shower or have someone spray you with a hose and then go and sprint and write for an hour. Next up is prompts. I don't know. We'll put this down here. Just having like random things to get you to write words or ideas or something. Of what to write about. If you are just doing this as an exercise to strengthen that muscle, that's fine. It's a weak sauce. It'll work. You can put that on your taco. It's going to do something. That's not going to move the fireball, okay? The prompt is not going to make you a great songwriter, but it can get you doing something. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about, kind of relate back to this in a minute. Okay, next up, I think this one will be sort of controversial. I'm undecided on it, but it's going to be to set like really big goals. People talk about set really high goals, and I agree with this, that we need to put it in context. So setting a goal is sort of like a tool. It's not as much an exercise, but we're going to include it for fun. So we're going to put it here. So this is like a little David and Goliath, right? Now, and I love that story. It's wonderful. You should go read it. David had an absurd amount of faith to defeat Goliath, and when everyone else in the nation of Israel would not fight him, and he taunted them for 40 days. There's a TV show about the House of David on Amazon Prime, and the whole first season is just this, right? Just Goliath taunting of the nation of Israel until David comes out. In this setting, I agree, big goals are amazing, right? But depending on where you are, this could just be discouraging. Just like encouraging yourself all the time, this can be defeating. So in the moment, this might not be helpful, even though this is something that is extremely healthy that you should do, and you should keep those in mind. Like, I hate putting it down here. I want to put it up here, because really, like, how are you ever going to achieve something great if you don't set great goals? You're not. But in this context, if this was an exercise that you did, let's write down our goals and just dream big, unless you're in the right place and you do it the right way, this could be very detrimental in the moment, or even like knock you off course for a little bit, just like people who maybe try visualizing or affirmations and it doesn't work, and then it could be years before they come back to it to get any benefit out of it, and that's problematic. So everything needs to be done in context and with wisdom. Okay, next up is going to be a vigorous workout. All right, so this one here is this guy, Super Chad, carving himself out of frickin' stone. So when you do a vigorous workout, make sure you're ready for it. If you're doing something like lifting weights really heavy, or whatever kind of training you do, maybe you sprint 100-yard dashes over and over again until you throw up. I don't know what you do. You can let me know. But when you're pushing yourself to that limit, you strengthen your body, you build more muscle, you're going to live longer, so you can be more creative. But you also are going to be getting endorphins from it. Your mind is going to be in a totally different space. You're going to be more confident as you do more of it. You're going to have more energy flowing through your body to pour into the creativity. So this exercise is literally exercising. It's like walking, but even better, because you're strengthening your body, not just to, do normal walking, which is nice, but to conquer and, subdue things. You have to be strong to do things that require strength. And it's just very, very healthy to build on muscle, right? And let's be honest, a lot of artists and musicians are not great at this. I'm one of those. This is not what I normally default to. It takes a lot of persuading and convincing myself to work out at all. And there's seasons where I've been terrible at it, and seasons where I've been very consistent with it. And whenever I'm consistent and I'm not fearing injury and I'm just going for it, I always build up to it, because there's times where I've injured myself. But once I'm really in it, I feel so much better. I go through my day having more peace, and my creativity is it's just more enjoyable. So, workout horde. One thing I forgot to mention with this time one, this is really about limitations. So time is like the biggest limitation in life because you can't create more on that, which makes it all the way up here in the fireball tier. Any limitation that you put or restriction on your creativity forces you to have to be flexible, to have to create fast, to have to make decisions, to be challenged. And it's going to show you weaknesses. It's going to show you strengths. It's going to feel awkward. And, this is what builds the muscle as limitations and the mental creative muscles, not the literal muscles. But by doing that, and time is probably the easiest and best one to use, so you actually save more time. You'll grow faster. If you have unlimited options and unlimited time, you're not going to do anything. Limiting yourself regularly as an exercise will enable you to adapt quicker. And even thinking about how do you limit yourself in different ways, that is an exercise in and of itself, but that's something I help students with all the time and people that I work with. So that is all the tiers right there. See, they weren't all F tier. I was nice. But we're pretty balanced here. We don't have 2 up here, though. We got 3 here. Maybe I should have moved one of those. Anyway, let's not be OCD. Okay, if you want to get actual guidance and support so that you have clarity and direction with every step you take, which is going to be beyond the fireball tier, that's going to be like, Superman tier, right? This is what all the experts throughout history did in making great art. And it speeds up the process so much. They were apprentices to do great things. Yes, there's a lot of people nowadays who they're just artists, they're self-taught, and they go, and it's very idealistic to kind of go and do the things. I've tried this. You could still be DIY, right? But you don't need to reinvent music or art. Okay, getting support, getting guidance, getting educated on things just strengthens your ability to make better decisions and better art. If you fear being influenced by someone else, right, then don't work with that person. Find someone else you maybe would rather be influenced by. That isn't even something you need to worry about. Just you're going to learn, it's going to make you better, and you're going to make your own decisions in your own art anyway. You got to trust in yourself, okay? So I've heard of people being afraid to learn and study music because it was going to change their art, but I think that's just a fear of not being unique enough or something. Like, you're unique enough. Trust in it. Get what you need so you can move faster, okay? So getting that guidance and support, that is really going to make a huge difference in what you're doing. If you're really stuck with writer's block, a lot of these aren't going to help, okay? It's going to be discouraging, and these can help a little bit, right? And if you're consistent with it, that's going to be huge. But if you're now struggling with fears and doubt in yourself and having all kinds of other anxieties or distractions coming in, there's other problems. I would say that's outside of the realm of what writer's block is, and that needs to be dealt with differently. This is just about writer's block and these typical ways people will try to deal with it. But yeah, let me know your experiences. Check out the link in the comment to learn more about how to work with me on your songwriting. I'll talk to you soon.